Parliament became totally out of hand this week following Patriotic Alliance PA leader McKenzie's incensed and relentless attack on Deputy President Paul Mashatile, whom he accused of lying, political timidity and actively hiding behind the ANC to show personal responsibility. What had been anticipated as a customary exchange on leadership and the position of the deputy presidency within South Africa's recovery post-pandemic rapidly descended into one of the most fiery exchanges in recent parliamentary history. The fiery exchange, now trending on all social media platforms and among political circles, was witnessed when the forum session was supposed to dwell on urgent national matters, economic recovery, government corruption, service delivery, and the rising unemployment problem. However, as the debate raged on, the tone drastically changed from policy discussion to personal attack, leading to what many are describing as one of the harshest political takedowns in recent times. The drama started when Deputy President Mashatile, in a bid to counter previous criticisms by opposition parties, shifted the conversation by blaming them for initiating a concerted assault on the ANC as an institution. He reminded the House of the party's heritage, evoking the sacrifices of struggle heroes and issuing a warning that incessant demonization of the ANC disintegrates national cohesion. Easier to point fingers, he said, but let us not forget the blood that was spilled for this democracy. While Mashatile tried to dress himself in the moral legitimacy of history, McKenzie was quick to confront that narrative on its own terms. "Stop playing games with our people's future," McKenzie snapped, dismissing the deputy president's words with evident contempt. "You think every time someone confronts you, you can shout ANC like it's a shield. Let me make one thing clear. This is not about the ANC. This is about you, poor Mashatile." Gas filled the chamber as the Patriotic Alliance leader disregarded the speaker's repeated urgings to be called to order. "Sit in that chair and play at being a servant of the people," McKenzie went on, his own voice rising with passion. "But you have served nothing but your own ego. Whenever you are confronted with a difficult question, you invoke Mandela. You name-drop TBO. You recite the ANC's heroic history. But where is your legacy, Paul? What have you done but go to ceremonies and shirk accountability?" The onslaught was scathing and vitriolic. And when Mashatile attempted to retort, citing Mandela's devotion to reconciliation and transformation, McKenzie doubled back. "Don't you dare invoke Mandela's name to excuse your cowardice," McKenzie growled. "Mandela stood for truth, for justice, for standing up and doing what is right. You stand for committees, for delaying tactics, for passing the buck. You are not Mandela. And South Africans are tired, frustrated of politicians who use his legacy as an excuse to do nothing to address the crisis we confront today." Parliamentary chamber plunged into chaos. DA and EFF members also murmured their approval, some banging their desks in agreement as ANC MPs fled in outrage, trying to overpower McKenzie's statement. But the PA leader was not to be deterred. He dialed the volume another notch higher, this time targeting Mashatile's performance or non-performance as deputy president. "You told the nation," grinning, shaking hands, reciting ANC slogans. "But when the nation is hungry, when children in Soweto are running from bullets, when the electricity cuts out for the 15th time in a week, you disappear. You are not the future of the ANC, Paul, you are its use-by date," McKenzie boomed, directing a blistering attack that visibly shook the deputy president. He then listed what he referred to as a pattern of disappearing acts, referencing Mashatile's silence in July 2021 unrest, his absence at numerous community protests against basic services, and his alleged complicity in the slow, calculated dismantling of public accountability. McKenzie's voice boomed around the chamber. "This parliament is not a church choir where everyone applauds empty speeches. We are meant to be people's watchdogs. And I, Gatton McKenzie, am not going to sit here quietly while men such as you pose as leaders as the nation goes up in flames." The sheer ferocity of the outburst threw the whole session into chaos. ANC MPs rushed to Mashatile's defense, calling for McKenzie to withdraw his words. The House Speaker threatened to discipline McKenzie and called for decorum at once. But McKenzie refused to back down. "If you want to shut me up, go ahead," he stated defiantly. "But you will not shut up the truth. You will not shut up the people who are fed up with seeing their leaders make Parliament a playground for cowards." The repercussions were immediate. Within hours, exchanges from the skirmish-filled news reports and social media timelines. Political commentators and analysts had their say with opinions roundly split. Some held McKenzie as a voice of the people, a bold truth-teller daring to challenge a political elite that had grown distant and indifferent to the everyday struggles of South Africans. Others accused him of grandstanding, arguing that his theatrics undermined the dignity of Parliament and risked deepening divisions in an already polarized country. However, what no one could deny was the resonance of his words. Throughout South Africa, where millions are still struggling to come to terms with load shedding, youth unemployment, crime, and inflation, McKenzie's passion-filled speech hit a chord. Call-in shows on the radio, social media forums, and neighborhood meetings were abuzz with talk of what had been witnessed in Parliament. For others, it was not political theater. It was their frustration, their disillusion, and their hope for leaders who would cease hiding behind phrases and begin taking responsibility. The ANC has since sought to play down the affair, with some senior members coming to Mashatil's defense and accusing McKenzie of political opportunism. But the harm may have already been done. With elections approaching and public confidence in political institutions at all-time lows, the show has raised substantive questions about the Deputy President's visibility, reach, and ability to lead. For Gayton McKenzie, the moment seems to have cemented his reputation as a passionate force in South African politics, a man willing to tell unpalatable truths, even if it means ruffling dominant feathers. Whether he can cash in that moment as political capital is yet to be determined. But for now, his voice is heard loudly in a country desperate for authenticity, clarity, and action. At a moment when South Africa is at a crossroads, its economy uncertain, its institutions weakening, and public outrage rising, the incendiary clash in Parliament this week might be remembered as more than a viral sensation. It might be recalled as a turning point, a wake-up call to the ruling elite that the era of rhetoric without substance is over and the era of leadership without it is long, long overdue. "Stop playing games with our people's future," McKenzie snapped, dismissing the Deputy President's words with evident contempt. "You think every time someone confronts you, you can shout ANC like it's a shield. Let me make one thing clear. This is not about the ANC. This is about you, poor Mos Haile.